everyone, this is In Case You Missed It. Let's get straight into round 5 and we start with the agenda off the top. Well, he's one of the early favourites to win this year's Brownlow medal, but gee, Hawthorn star Tom Mitchell is likely to come under scrutiny from match review officer Michael Christian for an off-the-ball hit on North Melbourne's Todd Goldstein in the 28-point upset loss to the Kangaroos on Sunday. Now, a brain fade in the second quarter saw Mitchell elbow the Roos ruckman in the head. Even sillier, he did it right in front of the umpire, giving away a free kick in front of goal. Goldstein played on and played down the incident post-match.
It wasn't hard enough. I barely even noticed. It was like a fly touching there, really, but look, it was fine. He'll be fine.
Not sure he'll be fine there, Goldie, but that won't be the only incident assessed from this game. Hawk Ryan Burton's bump on new father Sean Higgins will be looked at just hours after celebrating the arrival of his first child, Rosie. The bruised star was stretchered from the ground in a neck brace and taken to hospital. Now, according to the club, Higgins was more worried about his wife and baby than his head. Luckily, he remembered he was a dad, and teammate Ed Vickers-Willis also came off second best in a collision that happened seconds later. Well, power recruit Lindsey Thomas's bump on Scott Selwood will be another big talking point this week. It was his first game for Port. The ex-Roo elected to bump. He went past the ball, made contact with Selwood's head. The cat was concussed and took no further part in the game. This one likely to be graded careless, high impact, high contact, earning him a 2-week ban. But there are calls for the bump to be graded as intentional, which would carry a lengthier penalty. Now, he could also be in trouble for a punch on Cats skipper Joel Selwood, his fist making contact with the throat. So really not a good start to Thomas's career at the Power, and it wasn't a good night for Port, an undermanned Cats side getting the job done fairly easily in the end.
No player goes out there deliberately trying to cause things to go wrong, but in a contact sport they do happen that way. I just hope, from our point of view, Lindsay was trying to do the right thing. Scott, obviously, hopefully he's okay. That's probably important, and the rest of his stuff will take care of itself.
Moving on now, a #1 draft pick, Raina, has missed the chance to be a hero, blowing an opportunity to steal victory for the Lions on the final siren in what was an entertaining but spiteful QClash on Sunday. The game went down to the wire in the frantic last 2 minutes. Suns midfielder Touk Miller produced a brilliant smother to stop the Lions going forward, and then Jared Harbrow laid a game-saving tackle on Charlie Cameron moments later. With 2 seconds left, though, Raina had his chance.
McCluggage hands it over. Raina, the moment of his life. Rogers. And he's missed on the siren. He could have caused the second draw of the round. And he misses.
The tense and exciting finish sending some fans into a spin. Wow, that guy has skill. All right, debate over whether the draw has a place in the modern game has sparked up again after St Kilda and the Giants were locked on 73 points apiece on the final siren at Etihad Stadium on Saturday. While both sides were wasteful and had their opportunities to grab full points, young Saint Paddy McCartan took his chances with the former #1 pick kicking a career-high 3 goals. But in the end, it all came down to this.
The last roll of the dice. Stephen looks up. He's got Carlisle forward. He has a bounce. Carlisle leads back at him. Carlisle! Dumped away by Davis. Could be a game saver. Siren sounds. And it's a draw.
No, I just feel like I should have marked it. Was it a free?
No, it probably wasn't.
No. Yeah, well, I mean, I thought Phil spoiled really well all day.
I actually thought it was a free kick. I'm sure the vision will show as much. I probably carried on a little bit too much.
Well, what did Phil Davis think? Well, the Giants co-captain said post-match he was a little lucky not to give away the free kick. Let the debate continue. On to Freo now, and the Dockers were impressive at home against the Bulldogs on Saturday night, notching up a 54-point win. The convincing performance sees the Dockers 2 from 2 at their new home, and it came off the back of commanding contributions from Brownlow medalist Nat Edwards. He is absolutely flying, 43 touches and a goal, while excitement machine Michael Walters mesmerised the Dogs defenders with 5 majors.
McCarthy waiting down was Walters. The quick spin, the quick turn, the amazing goal from Michael Walters.
What a goal. He definitely is a talent. Now, one of the few positives for the Dogs was young key forward Tom Boyd's 2 goals in his AFL return from mental health issues. Good to see him back out there. Now, we love some coach talk, and while he's been accused recently of corporate speak and giving scripted responses to his side's winless start to the season, Carlton coach Brendan Bolton let his personality shine through when discussing the 4-goal performance of young key forward Harry Mackay in the gallant loss to West Coast.
I'm glad I succumbed to the pressure to play. He's kicked 4, so for him that gives him absolute belief. But a young man who's got a good set of hands, he let up well and kicked a couple of great goals there in the second half, but he's still learning the craft down there.
Turning the clock back to Friday night, and an undermanned Adelaide responded to a disappointing loss to Collingwood last week with a stirring win over Sydney at the SCG. With guns Eddie Betts and Rory Sloane missing through injury, skipper Taylor Walker bounced back from fierce criticism for his performance against the Magpies, leading his side to a memorable 10-point victory, Tex having the last laugh.
Clock at 38 seconds. Now Papley on the 50. He kicks. High ball. Walker, the skipper, in the defensive goal square.
A great response from Tex. Time now for what's been lighting up social media this round. And we all know the tragic story surrounding Swans forward Gary Rowan and his wife Amy. Twin daughters born last week. Unfortunately, Willow didn't survive. Rowan returned on Friday night, his goal and tribute to his daughter going viral on Twitter.
Flat Kennedy almost couldn't quite mark. Socket off the deck by Parker. Here's Rowan. Here's Gary Rowan. They love it.
That video on our AFL Twitter account getting over 24,000 views. A beautiful moment there and a standing ovation from the crowd at the SCG. Play of the round time, and round 5 so far has seen plenty of hard hits as we've seen, but spare a thought for this victim of a feathered kind during the clash between North Melbourne and the Hawks.
North stream off half back again over the head of Waite. Sicily along the seagull. And the seagull cops it.
He got injured. Look, he's got a wing. His right wing
He can't get away.
has been partially dislocated and he has to walk home.
Poor little tacker. I can tell you now that the seagull is okay. He was rescued and set free by Etihad Stadium staff. Time for a look at the ladder now as it stands with 2 games still to play. West Coast on top of the table, and can you believe it? The Kangaroos third. Many of them have them as wooden spooners. Then the 2 South Australian teams rounding out the 8. The Swans are in 9th, and down the bottom, the Dogs, Brisbane and Carlton. And just before we go, let's not forget we've still got 2 matches to play in round 5. Tuesday night's Anzac Eve clash between Richmond and Melbourne, followed by Collingwood and Essendon at the MCG on Anzac Day. And the Bombers trained this morning on Sunday morning. The good news, James Stewart showed no signs of that ankle injury and should be right to play. The bad news, Orazio Fantasia ran laps solo and appears unlikely, while Anthony McDonald-Tipungwuti is in doubt with a knee complaint. And that is it for another edition of In Case You Missed It. Thanks for joining me. See you next week.